if you haven't yet. No market on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday, as Sharif and Adair were just saying. A lot to get to this afternoon with a couple hours left. Looking like a bit of a sell-off might be intact here, once again going into the close. We have yields back to the upside, just seeing the 30-year back to 4.05, first time in a couple days. We also have the 10-year back on a bounce as well. Higher this, however, is the dollar. DXY as well did start the day downside. You can see a little bit of a tail forming here as we try to bounce heading into the end of the day. So we'll keep an eye on how things are shaping up. That's Tesla. We'll get to that. 0.12, 0.13 back downside right now, trying to give up the rest of what it hadn't already. Nice bounce off of yesterday's close. Mid-morning there for Tesla. Yeah, Kathy Wood was on CNBC talking about ARC and talking a little bit about what she's looking forward to going into 2024. A little bit of that was on that Spaces last night with Elon as well. Nike still downside. We'll get to this as well, trying to roll over here. 108 still the level. Was in the pre-market, continues to be traded all the way up there to above 110 on a bounce. But pretty ugly day here for Nike. There it is. Right across the board, overall consumer stocks or consumer-related stocks in pretty good shape heading into the weekend here. Procter & Gamble, Coke, Pepsi, Mondelez, even across the board. Retail stocks outside of Home Depot there. You can see Lululemon downside a little bit as well. That's Lulu. Tough to see, but 0.71. Anything that was sports related or sports apparel related under a little bit of pressure because of Nike and their earnings report today. If you missed that this morning, healthcare stocks, banks, some tech, still providing some strength, but overall pretty quiet afternoon as expected. If you missed it this morning, this was pre-market. We get the PCE reading. The core number finally on a decent downtick there, 3.16, 2.64. For each. So finally moving in the right direction here, a two-handle, yeah, for the second time. Second month in a row there for the headline number for PCE. It was 2.9 last time, 2.64 this time for PCE. So good luck. Overall, the market, though, looking forward to maybe more, dare I say, Santa Claus rally to come, coming up. Remember, we learned this from Michael Moss this morning. The final week and then 2 days going into the next year of trading, we should be getting Santa Claus paying a visit, but he had that unfortunate picture of Santa Claus crashing into the stock market, saying that if it doesn't happen, next year doesn't typically end up being a pretty good year. Anyways, we'll get into that more. Here's Nike. Let's talk about it to kick things off here still. Kind of chopping around. If you missed it this morning, it was a bit of a mixed report, but focus completely on the forecast. They cut their full year sales forecast. They were talking a lot on the call as well about next year, expecting more weakness, more overall economic weakness on demand going into next year. Also pointed to China being a little bit of a problem and uncertainty around that going into next year, guys. But Nike did give you a nice move back higher, and then, yeah, not much to do.
I didn't do anything with Nike, unfortunately. Always going to have a trade, but sometimes we talk about this. Like, you can have some ideas out there or like a specific setup, in this case, the SSR bounce play, and it doesn't quite give you what you're looking for. So obviously a Nike being down more than 10%, it's hard to see on this daily chart, but I thought 104 was a key bounce spot. And then I was looking at the 107 level, like when it was making this wedge, the last bottom was 107 before it broke out the top. So I liked 4s and 7s for the dip buy. Let's go to a 3-minute chart here. Got some bad wicks, but at the open, it got to 107.40, like it held the low. I usually will tell you on a stock like this, if it doesn't break the low, only one place to go, but that's not where I was at 9:30. It wasn't on Nike. So it does the perfect bounce in, holds the higher low, doesn't give you the 107. You get your SSR bounce. It never got to 113 and broke that 110 level. So I didn't short it. I didn't go long. Obi had a good long on it, so credit to him. The only trade that I was looking at that I thought could have given a similar setup, which is oddly enough, was ON. And it's like, sort of, it did the exact same move, if only the only difference being where it bounced, I think is about as obvious as it gets on the daily chart. ON, this is the local bottom at $27. It wicks right in front of 27. So the sympathy play even gave you the dip and a rip, and it hasn't looked back. Now this is a stronger name because it's sympathy play. Like they didn't have the bad guide, and they didn't have the slowing revenue. But that's what you look for. Sometimes if a stock fails that move to the downside and the market's going down here, I just got
Yeah, market just started tanking.
Just very quickly, the market just made an acceleration to the downside, and I just picked up Intel underneath 48. I still had a bit in there. I don't know why I did. So I'm just going to quickly put a relatively tight stop. I am mostly short, but that kind of came out of nowhere. The market broke down, and that was a pretty decent flush off the 17,000 level. Now, the good news would be, at least if we can bounce off previous resistance levels into support, look for a little bit of a bounce. But I'll get out the first bounce we get here, hoping for some rubber band action. That was a bit wild. We're just sort of chilling out, doing our thing in the rundown, and then the market did market things. Apple and AMD shorts are both printing out, though I might get out of Apple off of, no, you know what's AMD that I think I want to be covering off 39.
Yeah, that dump was quite wild there. I suddenly turn over to my Amazon chart. I'm like, oh, this is holding up. This is trending, not too bad. And then all of a sudden, boom, quadunk. Apple's making new lows. Amazon's making new lows. That was pretty wild. But yeah, let's see how this kind of sorts itself out as it kind of it drops and then kind of pops right back again. So let's see whether or not this sell has any sort of continuation on the move. But yeah, Nike, some solid moves there in the morning. Again, sticky note, I had 110. Did 110 come in? Yeah. Was I there? Not really. I kind of, I didn't really interact at the level. You guys were here with us, and I was just like, yeah, I'll give it some room, wait for some structure to form, and I did, and that's perfectly fine. We made a high, and then this was definitely the point to get involved, I think, the lower high in and around that 110 that gives you that fade, that continuation of the strong selling that we had off of the earnings report, and it starts to go below VWAP as well. So that idea kind of I didn't really take part in that idea, but that idea seems like it worked out well later on in the day. But what I did was I understood that I missed this 110 fail, and again, earnings day one, decent RVOL. You're holding above pre-market consolidation in this area. And I was watching the tape here. 50s reserving. You have a nice little lick grab, and then it gives you a nice chance to keep a tight risk there. And yeah, just took the long, kind of fumbled. We were in the trade review meeting earlier, and I was talking about this very trade. And I was like, yeah, there's no real reason for me to peace out so early, especially when the momentum through this consolidation break is so strong. Like, I can even be adding here for that break, and no real reason to sell shows up until we get to that 110 mark where I wanted to sell originally. So this is just one of those days that luckily the plan is working out, but I'm not really there for it. But I found a trade based off of some price action. But regardless, earnings day one seems like a solid trade here on Nike. If you're short, you're doing nice right now. But this shelf that was holding before above these pre-market levels is now broken. Something to watch out for.
Last year, we were just talking about Kathy Wood expecting deflation next year and quote unquote aggressive interest rate cuts from the Fed. So she was on CNBC if you missed it, going back over lunchtime. 0.3 right now. Yeah, that market move was pretty intense there. A lot of these things got sold pretty hard, even Tesla downside on heavy volume. Still not seeing really anything significant on that. I want to mention this real quick. This is an interesting chart. Just kind of highlight what Michael Noss was talking about earlier in the week. This is the overall market move. Essentially, the S&P 500, we're still hanging out at the top. This is the SPY. We're still hanging out at the top end of the range, but working off this overbought territory and not on a significant pull down or pullback. So, we're getting rid of the fact that everything has been overbought and not really seeing that much of a slide back to the downside. So we'll see how next week goes. Anyways, record inflows as well going into some of these ETFs. On the other side of things, we had 10.2 billion worth of outflows. One of those was this is the Vanguard, I should say, S&P 500 ETF, VOO. There's IVV, 3.5 billion worth of outflows there, 8.9 billion worth of outflows going back to earlier in the week in IVV as well. But the SPY specifically, 20.8 billion in ETF inflows in a single day this week, the highest inflows in the entire year. So people definitely buying going into this quote-unquote Santa Claus end of the year rally, I guess, or just positioning, but that's a big number for one single day.
Yeah, for 20 billion, then the highest was 8 billion for outflows. So that's over double there. Yeah, that's a good look there. But with respect to Tesla, Brendo, running on the headline today that they bought new land in Shanghai near the Shanghai facility for their battery plant, about 48 acres, ran them about $31 million, and they're looking at producing about 10,000 of these battery mega packs per year to supplement all the cars coming out of the Shanghai facility, a lot of which are exported to Europe.
Yeah, a little bit of profit taking, as we saw there, maybe coming into Tesla. But I mean, the other side of this is, you know, as far as the overall market is concerned, we had that rebalance that happened a couple of weeks ago that might still require a little bit of positioning going into the end of the year. They also mentioned, you know, the Fed down here. We had that GDP print going back to yesterday. PCE now finally also pointing in the right direction in a decent way as well. So finally, it might be time that, you know, we can start aggressively talking in this way. But interesting, 20.8 billion buying up the SPY, guys.
Yeah, that's an impressive number. To be sure, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In Tesla, just going specifically to Tesla here, that event or whatever we just saw, this rollover, and just to remind everybody on Tuesday that we did have a big rollover. Now you can talk about what happened on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, which was a huge move to the downside. It started a little something like this. So I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen again. I didn't see the same kind of move in put-call ratio that a lot of people were talking about. So I didn't really see anything along those lines. But I do want to respect that that's how things started on Wednesday. Tesla just rolled through to a fresh low. But the more important thing is it's been stair-stepping to the downside, resisting VWAP. It made a fresh low of the day through 254.25 and is consolidating underneath 254. If this move doesn't get us back above 54, you can see a rollover. But the name that I traded for EVs was Rivian. Wish I could tell you I was still in it, but it was one fade before we went into lunch off of VWAP, and then got up at at the right time or the wrong time. Missed the VWAP still there. I don't even know why I'm still offering it, because since this broke down, I actually prefer to try to short Rivian on any pops back into previous support. So we're one and done in Rivian, short VWAP to the low of the day, and I want to try to do the same thing in this bottom consolidation. I'll have my eyes on Tesla to see if it's holding 254. The good news for Tesla is it's still holding above 250. The bad news is on a day where for most of the day we were still up in the market, Tesla was trending down. Even when the market had some weakness in it, it was still mostly a lot of stocks trending up. And just to go back over the newest position that I had on there, which was Intel, in that little bit of a bounce, I had an order out to get long in front of this previous support level on Intel. I scalped some out there at 48.05, reloaded, and I'm out. I mean, looking back at what happened on Wednesday, it's like, why would I be thinking about longs? Let me look for some opportunities to get into and add to shorts instead of trying to catch a falling knife there. Too many people liking the old Santa Claus rally, and if the same thing happens as Wednesday, I don't think you want to be fighting on the bid here.
Yeah, no, definitely want to stay wary of the heavy sells that might be coming in. We saw what happened a few days ago, and that was the first time the market kind of sold off aggressively like that since we've been running up. So maybe something to watch out for indeed. But 260 was kind of the area we were talking about on Tesla, and lo and behold, it makes a top underneath that 260. Some of these previous resistance levels kind of coming in. Again, we talk about sellers being kind of aggressive every time we do get up to this area. So unless and until we distinctly break through that 260, it seems like sellers might be in charge on Tesla underneath this 260 level. It's just what the chart has been printing day after day, right? Every time it cannot get above that, and today we're seeing a little bit more of the same. And again, kind of look at the breakdown, expanding large volume going through the break. So almost pretty much confirming the move to the downside here. Let's see if we continue to make lower highs as we have been underneath VWAP on Tesla today.
All right. It's Friday. Let's talk about what is to come coming up in 2024. We'll get to Apple in a second. I want to talk about this for a second. This is an interesting note from, this is Benzinga, but anyways, top FANG bets for 2024. I just asked this to Sharif here. If you had to go back to the beginning of this year, buy Google and Amazon, which one ends up doing better? You got it right. It was Amazon. I wouldn't have thought that, but Amazon's been kind of quiet, and to the tune of a decent amount as well. The yellow is Amazon year to date. The blue is Google year to date. So a decent amount in the favor of Amazon. So this analyst saying, yeah, just do the same next year.
Yeah, let's, man, if it doesn't rhyme, it doesn't repeat, it'll rhyme.
Yeah.
No, but interesting was you know, remember when we were retracing aggressively during the fall?
Yeah.
And it was Q3 and everything was selling off and Google was outperforming the market. And it's typically, I think, in my opinion, it was because of this AI tailwind that we've had all year, and Google has benefited from that. You didn't have the same thing with Amazon. They tried with their TPUs, but it never really came with the scale.
Yeah. Have you heard that Jeff Bezos, Lex Friedman podcast?
I've heard about it. No, but he's a good podcast.
Yeah,
that guy.
he really is.
Yeah.
I listened to a few clips of it last night. He's not.
Those?
Yeah, he's not easy to listen to.
Okay.
I guess is the best way to put it. Anyways, it's worth a listen. But
No, to build on your point, I feel his personality's changed over the years. Have you seen some of his older videos from like the early 2000s?
Yeah.
And like lately, he's a different
very
person.
different.
Very different person.
He was super laid back, to be expected. But here's Apple, guys. Not much to do with it today. Again, we were talking about this appeal. They lost in favor of this Massimo patent infringement. I was reading about this a little bit over lunch. They're trying, at least, there's a software fix in the works. They haven't come out with anything saying that they've been able to fix the problem and everyone's happy and they're going to go ahead with that. But apparently they are working on a software fix that should rectify the problem. But I think Massimo is going to have to sign off on whatever they come up with. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, not much to do here, guys, with Apple today.
We're accelerating a little bit to the downside here. Oh my, why didn't I just short 27 on Mara? For the love of... Anyways, so please pop so we can get in. Mara broke 27 with some serious gusto there. We're supposed to be talking about Apple, but Apple... I got a VWAP trade on Apple, wishing I could tell you I added to it, but didn't. Now we're at the low of the day. My only play here is I'm going to hold through the low of the day, look for some entry points into some things. I'm looking for anything that is trying to roll over late to this move. But Apple, okay, Apple rejected 97 and 98, didn't even get close. That's the last couple of days. You had to trade it off for the 95 level. I did not. When I saw it fail VWAP at 10 o'clock, I looked to join the trend. Back at 1 o'clock after talking to some traders, just looked for a VWAP move, and the second it got tight into VWAP, I essentially just sat there at 44. But this market's really accelerating to the downside. This is absolutely wild. Like if you shorted, I think the best place to have gone short would have been trying to get top on some of these Bitcoin type names. I do like Rivian. I'll see if I can get an entry point into that, but I'm not chasing this move into the downside. As a matter of fact, I am looking for some exits. And if Apple, the more I look at it, I'm actually liking, for some reason, I'm liking AMD to 138 more than I'm liking a continuation in Apple. Because Apple, if it bounces here, this would be off of these bottoms yesterday. So I want to be a bit cautious about this one. Like I'm probably going to get out of Apple as it starts to hold this 55 level. Yeah, I'm getting out of Apple as it holds yesterday's bottom, but I want to hold on to AMD and look for some re-entries. 48,000 being tested as we speak, but when I talk about Apple rejecting 98 and 97, I just mean since we got that test of 200, it was a 98 resistance and then a 97 resistance, and it's been stair-stepping down. I don't know exactly where the bottom is going to be of this move, but it's worth noting 191.5 looks like a good support level. 191.5, 192. So now that we're holding yesterday's bottom, maybe I'll look to short the pops. I mean, if we're just going to start tanking going into the weekend, I want to find some things that I want to short the pops on.
Yeah, no, Apple kind of a strong trend there. I'm just trying to take in some of this market move that's happening here. Watching the NQ kind of come into that 16.9 straight quadunk into some of these pre-market levels that we slowly grinded up into that 17 thou off of. But yeah, no, Apple, again, I just put this line in just to kind of define some trend here off of these points. Very strong downtrend today. A little bit of a continuation off that 97 level from yesterday. So it seems like this might be a little bit of a multi-day move off of that 197. Again, we see that the trend was held for multiple days, and the first time it rejects it, you're getting a little bit of a strong multi-day sell off of these similar levels here. So I'm just curious to know whether or not this move is going to come in even further. 195 seems like it was a decent place to take a look, as it was kind of yesterday's close. You pop back up in through it, but yeah, no, definitely. I guess people don't really like the fact that they might be having some trouble with their smartwatch there. But regardless of what the reasoning might be, definitely catching a sell off of that 200 as of right now on Apple.
All right, let's go to energy here. I was just double checking on crude oil is basically flat on the day as well, 0.2 to the downside right now. With about 10 minutes to go in the day for oil futures. There is OXY. We were talking about Warren Buffett back in here the past couple of days buying this thing up. You can see probably, according to the closing print volume, it was at the close, probably the last couple of days here. Huge, monstrous prints on the volume side for OXY against that 55, 56 area. If you go out to a daily chart, you'll see why. Energy pretty quiet heading into the weekend here, despite these continued headlines.
Yeah, and I think he's probably happy about oil being down 15% in the past 3 months, because he's been buying OXY hand over fist, 27.7% stake in the company now, buying about 3.5 million shares this past week in December. So we'll have to see what he does. I don't know what his plans are for this company. He's outwardly stated that he has no intentions of taking a controlling interest, but his actions indicate otherwise. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
There's a bit of a move worth noting on Meta there. It spiked all the way back above that midday high and right back down again, but chopping around. Apparently that is the one that Cathie Wood said on CNBC they're back into. The one of the Magnificent Seven. So she's back into Meta once again.
Good for Miss Wood. Meta, what ridiculous run this year. Just very quickly, I did short Mara back at 90s off the 27 level. So I missed 27. Well, saying I should have shorted Mara at 27. It was consolidating right there, and I should have known. I was long into that level. It was a breakout off that price. That was a natural entry for a short position, but it just gave me a second chance. I just got filled at 80 even, popped a bid here at 66, so it's already starting to come back down there. Let's get Flush City going. We're supposed to be talking about Occidental. I like Oxy. I like Chevron better because I own it, but that's probably been a mistake. Occidental, the bad news is it rejected the 200 period breakout today. The good news is if you took that this morning, which we did loosely talk about the potential breakout on Oxy, it just wasn't the first place I was going. Roblox was my initial long. So that was the breakout I favored on Roblox instead of taking this on Oxy. And it was great. I mean, if you took the break, you got a clean dollar. It didn't really continue through, unfortunately. It's coming right back in. I'd be wary of this getting underneath 61. Maybe you could, I don't know, like mini gap fill there. I just feel like the tech names are better places to be looking short right now than maybe looking at a flat bottom break on an energy name. But the market's rolling back over. Are we just Wednesdaying again here, apparently? So I wish I'd found something, like at least one or two more names to short when Mara just worked. I didn't get Rivian. I'm holding on to AMD. I didn't find a reload. But you could probably put Oxy in the bucket. If it can't hold on to this 61 level, it might just do the same thing. Eventually, you got to think this guy's going to buy everything. 27% doesn't, like if you do that, in for a penny, in for a pound, at some point he's just going to own the company outright.
Yeah, if this market keeps on quadunking like this, we might even get that Oxy 55 today, Neil. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, I guess anything is possible. But no, definitely a little bit of a continuation move off of yesterday's consolidation. We've been picking up off of that 55 level, and off the open you can see kind of a strong move. But yeah, catching a bit of a sell here. Yeah, so I got short, kind of trying to follow the trend here. Trend is your friend, and I was like, all right, well, if we get through that 153. I do want to get a little bit short.
We need this rum a little earlier at this point.
Well, I mean, it's already, market's having a party without us already. So, we might be a little late on that one, but yeah, OXY, decent look there, kind of giving back some of its, all of its gains on the day, but the bigger time frame, nice build up off that 55 for sure.
All right, Chinese ADR is back on watch once again today as well. Downside coming off, I mean, let's be honest, there's been a few negative headlines this week. Some of them back on watch on this today. There was some more tariffs talking about, or potential tariffs talking about online gaming and local government as well, going to cap the amount people are going to be able to spend on online gaming and specifically in-game purchases. So there's this NetEase. Sorry, let me zoom out a little bit here so you can actually see, it's back to here. I don't know why that's still red. I guess it's versus yesterday's close, but that candle obviously should be green because it opened way down here. It's been straight to the upside. A monstrous gap down this morning. I think it was 21% when we were sitting here in the pre-market. So this thing up, better part of 6% on the day.
Yeah, it's really kind of no surprise here because Xi Jinping has made his opinion about online gambling quite clear over the past, calling it like a national vice or something akin to that. Here are the new regulations, guys. So there's going to be in-app regulations like Brenda was saying. So for example, you won't be able to get any extra bonuses for logging in every day. So that's going to be banned. If you are exhibiting what they call irrational consumption behavior, you're going to get umpteen amount of warnings with possible banning after that. So they're really looking to get interventionists here, Brendo, when it comes to these gambling regulations.
And this has spilled over a little bit into some of the other e-commerce focused names. PDD a little bit better off, still down 1.8%. It was down better part of 3% to start things off. JD.com, Baba, all still negative right now. I mean, they had these, all these charts look very similar. They had this initial move in the morning and then have done basically nothing all day, just kind of chopping around.
Oh, I just got, it's crazy. Like, I just got shaken out of AMD. I'm not even sure it was the right thing to do. You know what, we'll start with what just happened on AMD, and then I'll get to Roblox in a quick little second. So AMD got into afternoon support, 138.5, and it wicked that bottom, and you know how Neil trades. So it wicks that bottom. I look at that for an exit back on through. So the 140 level on AMD that I was long over in the morning, there's your 140 channel. I was long over it. We shorted it pretty much throughout lunchtime. And then you get lucky at 2 o'clock because 2 o'clock everything just starts dying. And it's like, well, what are you going to do? Once it breaks the low of the day, you're holding it to the next level down. There's nothing else to do at that point. I could have tried to find another re-entry point into it, maybe the 139 even. I think shorting the pops is the right way to go. I did it in Mara. I just got to find a level here in AMD. As far as Roblox goes, this was a breakout that I kind of screwed up. My third exit here. It was a clean break of a consolidation level at a very key price. So there was previous support on Roblox. And then right at that previous support level, 43.35, there was resistance and an iceberg right before the open. So it broke right at 9:30 on the previous level, and it just immediately started going. So I took one out in front of that low there. I took another out in front of 44, with the idea being I was going to throw in a trailing stop. If it breaks above this level, hold it into 45. Didn't do that. I ended up accidentally punching out there, so it did not get the win that we should have. It was just you make mistakes all the time, but usually if you make a mistake, it's like as you get in. It's not when the thing is already a bunch in the money that you're making a mistake like that, but it happens. I then tried to short the 45 level to a tight stop. I had a long in there that I was looking to go that I got break even on the outs. Now I'm thinking where to short Roblox, like everything else that's rolling over. I suppose if it takes out 45.35 downside, that could be a short, or just short any pop back into the high. I'm not really thinking about anything except for looking for some shorting opportunities. If 16.9 goes on the NASDAQ, that's the ES. If 16.9 goes on the NASDAQ, you got a pretty decent gap to be filled. So if it pops back in halfway, I think I short back into the 16.9 level. Just a crazy move that we've seen here. Thankfully, a couple of good shorting opportunities. And now I'm looking for it in just about anything. And Roblox was my play off the Chinese weakness. I didn't really trade anything specific in those ADRs.
Yeah, so we talked about the gap down on NetEase Inc., NTES. In the morning, again, a little bit of an SSR move, gapping down quite significantly on the Chinese gaming ban there. But take a look at what happens right off the open. Catches a very, very strong bid back into the 90 and holding some of these levels, even as kind of the market is quadunking. Again, it's an ADR, but it's interesting behavior nonetheless. And some of the other names I was looking at here with respect to gaming names there, Take-Two, right? Take-Two was the one. Again, this is an American company in the same kind of sector, same kind of niche. And yeah, okay, so we got a little bit of a similar move, pop right off the open, and now we're kind of consolidating here in and around VWAP. But yeah, this is definitely interesting. The move, I think, was off the open there. You guys saw the NTES. And yeah, there's the dump into 16.9. Oh boy, is this coming in? Let's see if that 16.9 bounces. But sellers are definitely on the block, and they kind of showed their hand last week, and it seems like they're more than willing to throw it all down off of some of these levels. Again, going into the end of the year, maybe some profit taking. I have no idea, but NetEase, nice little pop off the open, gave you a nice opportunity as well on the VWAP hold. Again, a decent SSR name with a catalyst.
Damn. Yeah, the market, it ain't good. I'm just, like I said, I'm looking for some opportunities to short pops. And this could just be wrong, but I think if you take some shots at this and we do break 16.9, then you could have like a watershed. It's just the risk to reward is going to favor. I'm looking for things that haven't gone yet. So Roblox, it was strong before, but I don't care about that so much right now. Like I look at the last consolidation, it was at 14.5. So if I can short into 45.5, I can short back into 45.5 here, maybe give it to 60s. This thing pops VWAP, it could easily still drop $1. Like I just looked at a firm and I wanted to, I mean, if you were long a firm just now, you probably just threw up inside of your mouth or you just freaked out or, maybe you're already celebrating stuff. Like I was like, oh yeah, let's just short Rivian somewhere. Anywhere. Short it anywhere. The market's going down. This one's way better. It's NYSE. We've had a bunch of these. Flat bottom breaks to the left of them, to the right of them, volley and thunder, blah, blah, blah. But if we bounce off 16.9, I do, like, my first gut reaction is look for something to fade if we bounce off 16.9 until proven otherwise. Like, if I give back some of what's been a decent day, then at least I'm doing so thinking that we have some room to run potentially to the downside. Like, let other people try to buy the dips. The Santa Claus rally, again, it's a multi-day thing. Just because we go down here today and we're down 0.2% doesn't necessarily mean the market doesn't end up from today till the second day of next year. But remember what Mr. Nas says, when we don't get it, it doesn't bode well for 2024. Again, those are just statistics. Just because something is statistically true doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. But it is something that we want to be aware of.
Yeah, just I think a good way to put it is just working with probabilities, right?
Exactly.
It's got to be working with probabilities. So I did kind of get short here on Amazon off of that nice quadunk, trying to get with the trend, trying to make some friends here with this price action here to the downside. But on the reclaim of 153, I do punch out there. Let's see, I'm still willing to get involved further, but with the NQ kind of wicking off of that 16.9, and then now Amazon taking a little bit of a breather off of the sells and reclaiming that 153. Yeah, definitely some reasons for me to buy here. But if we kind of consolidate and continue to push further down, again, this is a 15-minute candle. How much time is left for this 15-minute candle to print? We still have 11 minutes, so a decent chunk of that candle is still to print. So this has more than enough room to go green to red, red to green, whatever it is, playing around that 16.9 kind of level. But that 17th thou, Neil, excuse me, it stays so interesting with how price is interacting with it. We've seen some strong selling coming in, attempts at pushing past that 17th thou, but whenever we kind of do that, we've only done it a couple of times over the past couple of weeks, but we do catch a little bit of a sell off of these areas here. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to look for the next trade there, and I know that with this market quadunk, we do have a decent probability of opportunity if the market decides to bounce off this 16.9, but let us see what we do with this 153 on Amazon there. But Nike continuing to sell off. I gotta review this a little bit better here. Again, this is not following the plan, right? There's ways you don't. There's sometimes where I don't follow the plan while I'm in the trade, but then there are times where I'm not in the trade and I don't even follow the plan for the trade that I'm trying to get into, right? I had planned. I'm like, okay, well, 110 sell. Wait for a lower high. It does come in, but I'm not. I see it, but I don't do anything.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. So I'm not following the plan.
Look, man, I'm old. For a second there, I haven't even had any of this rum yet. But for a second there, I didn't follow. Like, you don't follow the plan of the trade that you're not in, which means just not making the trade.
Yeah.
Like, it was that's a convoluted way of saying that.
I don't know.
No?
No, I'm just saying there's two times where you don't follow the plan. One is when you're in the position. One is when you don't even take the position.
Yes. Okay.
That's what I wanted to
I feel
say.
like you didn't say it that way.
Yeah, I could have definitely said it a lot more effectively.
Old man
But-
Neil needs things broken
Yes.
down simplistically for me. There's a line in Who Says It? Explain it to me like, oh, come on, man. No, it's Denzel Washington has a line in Philadelphia where he says, explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And you know what's interesting about this? I had a conversation with, this was with Danielle Shea. Because anyone that's watched our show, like Daniel Shea comes on and drops mad knowledge about options. And I was messaging her and I said, I love the way that you're able to sort of explain things, like complex things very simply. And like, it's always very clear, it's very concise. And I go, what's your secret? And first she said she has experience teaching, which, okay, well, that now makes a lot of sense. I don't have any experience teaching. It's some tutoring in school, but that's about it. And then she would always say, like, that whole idea of keeping it simple. Right. Like, if you can't say it simply, which I'm not very good at, if you can't say it simply, then sometimes it's not the best. But okay, first things first, because Sharif just plopped down the eggnog in front of me when I thought that he and Brendan were going to do the pouring, ideally, because we're doing things. And I just got in and out of Roblox there, so. What did you say?
I don't know.
I don't know, just Brendan just said some stuff. Oh, but that's it. Daniel Adams, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Yeah.
Or you could just suck at talking like I do sometimes. But
No, sometimes I have trouble putting into words what I have going on up here. It's a little...
Because you haven't thought it through.
Yeah.
One of the best things I used to do at the dinner table, the rest of my family would hate it. My dad and I would constantly get into like these arguments for like arguments. And we just take devil advocate against the other, because if there was something that we were thinking about, we wanted to be able to fully form the thought, and sometimes getting into that discussion or conversation about it is the way to do it, as you're thinking out loud. So when you see us on the show, myself, Sean, Brendan, Obi, Adara, Sharif, like, we're doing that in real time often, and it's not always that clear. But I just got in and out of Roblox and just want to get back in. But this time it'll be off of the high. Now it's a strong name. I got out when it broke the 60 level. I might go back over to Mara first, because I feel like the 27 play on Mara might be the champ. The market is making a big bounce, so I think I want to be a bit more patient with this bounce here. We did say this could easily get back into 16.9.5, 16.96, and then that's where the fade would be. So if it gets into that level, that's where I would look. So I just want to give it a little bit more room to get back into the upside and then look for the fade. So it's probably a little bit early on the Roblox trade, but I just thought the risk to reward of risking 20 cents when that stock had $1 of catch-up to be able to go was going to make some sense in there. The other play I'm looking for, if we do get back up there, Rivian somewhere above 23. I got my eyes on Apple. If that can get back up to like 193.5, somewhere in the range that we got out of the VWAP short, that can be a place. We got 15 handles to go on the NASDAQ. I think we want to be a bit patient here. I'm looking over. Am I really doing the pour myself? I mean, that's fine. Like, I can do it.
Are they supposed to pour for us?
Well, I thought that's what was going to happen. Like, we've got, oh, and by the way, we got Oatnog. You're not leaving without having some, Sharif. We got this because Ram has to have Oatnog.
Yeah.
That's what we got. Sharif?
Yes.
You're taking off?
Yeah, I gotta drive, brother.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I brought it for you, though.
What? All right. Happy holidays, brother.
Take care, brother.
All the best to you and yours. Sharif has to take off. He has to drive. So I'm going to pour a little bit of this for us, and then these guys can figure it out for themselves. Now, I don't know how you do your rum and eggnog, but
Go for it.
this is how
Surprise
I
me.
will keep. First of all, this is how I
Oh, we got to get that out of their way.
a little bit. Just a, oh, seriously?
No, I'm just joking. That's good. Thank you.
Oh, for real? Oh, no, it's cool. It's not a big deal. I usually have Sean next to me, so I don't know how much you like eggnog, but like it's just like a little bit of eggnog, just a little splash, a little splash. It's oat nog though, so you could taste it. I don't know if you've ever had oat nog. It just doesn't even pour very well.
Yeah, it's.
All right, so Neil has spilled some.
No worries. We're good.
All right, so I'm gonna wipe that up so Randy doesn't yell at me. Randy said he was gonna come by. Okay, so cheers. Now this is oat nog, courtesy of, I don't know where Brendan got it, but because Ram, we're team around here. So cheers. I don't know why you guys didn't pour your own, but we're gonna do our own right here. Happy holidays to all. If you want to join,
Happy holidays.
Do your thing. Oh yeah, release the Kraken.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good drink. Yeah,
Like that.
That'll work. That'll work. That definitely will work. So Adara, if you would like, I'm gonna ask others to sort of get their own, if you want. Fabian, you can get some for Ram because I know you dote on her all the time. So
She just grabs the bottle.
Oh my.
do you?
I'm too awkward.
No judgment whatsoever. It's the holidays. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean she's straight up just ignoring the eggnog. I mean that's actually happening. Probably could have kept this one in the fridge, so I'm gonna leave that there so somebody can throw it back in the fridge till we actually need it because we want to keep it cool.
Here,
And
don't forget the
speaking of the
eggnog.
pops, about 10 handles, and I want to look for a bit of a fade. It's the afternoon. It's light volume. I'm gonna try and keep it light, tight stops, lower size, but I think there might be some chance. Thank God we got out of Roblox. What in the Roblox is going on?
A little bit of a bounce off that 16.9, it would seem. Were you sitting
Who's the
short?
idiot? Yeah, who? That wasn't me. Some other idiot said to short Roblox. You know what? The funny thing what had happened was when I had said short Roblox, what I had actually meant was go long. It's just that it came out wrong. I'll blame the Kraken that I hadn't had already. all jokes aside, when I see a move like that in the future, even if it's a strong stock, if you continue leg down, all I'm thinking is risk 20 cents because you could get down here, next support at 44.80. Like that's a 60 penny move, 3-1, and if it fills in the gap, it's got another $2 to the downside. So I'm usually looking for that to try to hit a home run late on Roblox. There you guys go. So enjoy yourselves there, Fabian.
Fabian. Cheers.
The oat nog's actually not that bad. If you've never had it, you have to shake it more than I shaked it a bit. I shook it a bit.
Oh, yeah,
but you
careful.
really got to shake that pretty good. But it's good stuff. Yeah. And if anyone asking, it's actually the gold spiced Kraken.
Release the
Usually-
Kraken.
Yeah, I prefer. I made a judgment call for everybody else to just go with like the spiced with the eggnog because that's how I like it. So
No, I think the
that was
spice
selfish.
definitely adds a little bit of a kick, and I like that. It's solid taste.
solid. This is a solid pullback in the market, but we're at 16.96, so it's time. 16.96, which was that previous resistance level we just talked about. So Apple just wicked. Hey, look at that! It
Here's
wicked
one.
193.60. So that's the level we liked. Just gonna wet our beacon here. And that's the thing about being patient. Like I knew where I wanted it to get back into and retest. The futures got to that price. Apple retraced back in here. So I give it about 10 cents. This could just be a rip your face off rally where everyone expected continuation like Wednesday.
Yeah.
But until proven otherwise, I'll take a few pot shots at it over here. I just can't believe Roblox. That was such a strong move.
Yeah.
The good thing for Mara though, is Mara just rolled at 27 again, and I might have missed an opportunity there on Mara. Right back in at 27, 26.95. So I got into Apple, but it looks like Mara would have been a different one. No, this is not feeling. It's definitely not the same as what we got on Wednesday.
No, absolutely not. I do not think so. The tape is different as well.
No, the tape is
is
very
distinctly different.
Very different.
Yeah. Like on what was it? Was Thursday?
It was Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. On Wednesday, the tape was distinctly different in the sense where like you would just see wipes into the bid, no real relief. But here on the way down, you're actually getting consolidations, right? You actually have levels to kind of play off of consolidations. You're like, okay, people coming in and out, participants, things like that. And yeah, very distinctly different, especially when you get a nice strong wick off of the 16.9, and none of that was seen on Wednesday there. So yeah, there is a very distinct difference in the tape here. And then clearly, we're no longer selling off. We're retracing. We've already retraced about 50% of the move off of that 16.9 bounce. So if you had the bounce and you played it, okay, well, momentum strong to the downside, unusual selling all of a sudden, and then you take that was a reversion move right there. But yeah, I was already short, kind of trying to play with the trend. But yeah, let's see how far this reversion kind of takes us.
James has it right here.
What's he saying?
Santa intervened.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
Santa Claus rally, more like a Santa Claus crash.
Hey, let's shout it out here. We got Todd Carroll. Happy birthday, Todd Carroll.
Happy birthday.
There you go. Hope you're having a fantastic one. You get your shout out, no questions asked. You'll get some love. Everyone throw up some ones in there in the chat and wish a happy birthday to Todd Carroll in our community. That's what we're all about here, having a little bit of fun. Hey, you know what? That means you're a Capricorn. I too am a Capricorn. So for that reason alone, I like you already. We love everybody in the community here, but shout out to you. Hopefully you enjoy the day. I hope when you were growing up, you didn't get stiffed on the Christmas gifts. I know everything about that. My birthday's on Tuesday, so I know what it's about when you have that Christmas birthday, and then everyone wants to double up on you. And
they're like, oh, do you get one or you get two? I don't know. Or, well, yeah, exactly.
See, that's a lot of times that's the thing. Which
maybe the bid stacks and you get double the amount.
That's just fine. One year I got this. Okay, I'm gonna date myself here. But one year I got this. I wanted to get this remote control hovercraft. It was like a really big deal. Okay. I'm not gonna say what year this was, but it was like at least okay, fine. I think I was like 10 or 11 years old. And this was like it was a legitimate hovercraft that you would go out on lakes. Now the battery wouldn't last for more than like 25 minutes, but it was the coolest thing ever. It was easily way more expensive than a normal gift that I would get. And I remember my parents got me that as like a double up gift. I was like, wow, that was. I didn't care that I only got one gift that year. It was the coolest thing ever, man.
As long as it's worth it, right?
Oh, it was definitely worth it. And then when I grew up and moved, when I went away to university, that shit disappeared. So I can't even give it to my daughter. Thanks, moms. No, I love my moms. It's just like a lot of stuff that I had as a kid that I would pass on ended up going to cousins. I don't even know which cousins they went to. It just went to cousins. So
yeah,
that was a really, really cool hovercraft. I love that thing.
Speaking of a special someone, I see that I've got a letter here, and I just now noticed the writing. This was not you, was it?
I mean, okay, first of all, yes, it was me. I have bad handwriting.
Oh, okay, well, all right.
Okay, that was low-key, so you're trying to act like my daughter wrote that? No, she didn't write that. I wrote that.
Okay, well, I apologize then. Oh. Well, there's a good reason for me to assume that. Anyways, I want to do a special shout out to Aaron here again. Thank you, Aaron. You have a cool dad. Trust me when I tell you, Neil is an awesome person, and thank you to the Roberts family, and I really appreciate it. But yes, no. I thought she wrote it. I was like, oh, okay, well, that seems like the right kind of. I'm just trying to make correlations,
I don't have good handwriting.
I was trying to make correlations, picking up on the indicators. A little bit of. I mean, here, you guys, let me know. Right there. I don't know. Does this look like Neil's handwriting? But here's the thing. To be fair, I've never seen your handwriting.
Every single one of you can read that just fine, okay? You all know you can read it fine. Like, it's not that bad. It's like, come on, son. The worst part is, he didn't even do it on purpose. Obi's way too nice. That was 100% genuine. My handwriting.
I'm like sweating now.
Fair enough. I get it. That is so. That was cold, dude.
I apologize. I did not mean it that way, but
that was so natural. I actually love it.
But I appreciate it. Thank you, Neil. And thank you, Aaron, and thank you.
That's That's all. It's all my wife and it's all my daughter. So
Thanks, guys.
she loves posing. Like a lot of families will do like a family picture. We used to do that too. But Erin loves posing for Christmas pictures so much that we just put her out there, and she loves when that gets shown out. Now we're not a big like put kids on social media family, not at all. But there's things that she's like, oh, I want people to see that, and then with those she wants people to see it. So. She loves it. It's genuine. And the best thing about it, I've said this before, my brother is an artist. His handwriting is ridiculous. And he has like,
I mean,
fantastic
I can't say too much about my handwriting either. My handwriting's pretty.
Yo, why do you think I keep my levels and notes on an iPad? Because I can't read my own stuff. Yours is not bad.
It's all right. Here, look, you can see the word. Yeah, exactly, right? So it's like there's that. Here's the thing, that correlation's actually pretty significant. Look, everybody I knew had pretty bad handwriting, except for a few people. There's obviously outliers, but yeah, no, definitely got that handwriting. But anyways,
Cold. Bottoms up, everybody.
Cheers.
Live YouTube here. Okay, so let's get back to
Trying to
this.
keep it real.
This is getting this move is getting a little bit strong, but like I'm seeing some things, I don't know, like my gut is telling me on Apple here, like do I really think we're reversing all the way past 94? So again, I was looking at Intel because I wanted to find something I liked that was strong today, and the first thing I dip bought was Intel. If it holds VWAP, fair enough, but look at the consolidation at the 94 level. Do I really think it's a continuation on this move, or do I want to take another shot at this? It's just not at 94 yet. Like one more push up. This gets into like 94, and I think that can be the level. I can read my own handwriting, 100%, like 95% of the time. Like 90 to 95% of the time, I read it just fine. But Apple, it's still looking a little bit heavy. I think if you're looking for a long, I should be. Like if you're looking for a long, it's got to be what, Roblox, right? Like if Roblox can break 46 again here, and that like. For a stock just now to be continuing to break out the high and wanted to take out levels on the daily, like that looks really, really strong as far as I'm concerned. I'm not really sure what else we got going on here. I was looking for Tesla. Maybe that would be something. Unfortunately for Tesla, it's looking weak. This almost looks weaker than Apple at this point. Tesla can't get through that 53. Yeah, this looks like one. But I also like Rivian here at 23.25. So Tesla 25, Rivian 23.25, those both look like things that can be faded. Looking for longs, I think if Roblox can get back above 46 and break out the high, that can be the play. Or a dip into Roblox at 45.75 looks pretty darn good too. So I have my eyeballs on that name. Just getting back into the previous high and then go dip and rip. But Tesla looks heavy. Rivian to some extent. Apple still looks relatively heavy as well. You're above VWAP on Intel, so I'd probably favor a long if I had to, as we're continuing to go higher. Yeah, we're just going higher here.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
we're reverting the reversion. Yes. Yeah, you revert the move and then you revert the reversion.
Revert the reversion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes you revert the reversion's reversion. I don't know. And then that's how you make a range. Oh.
All right, now you're just making stuff up.
Yeah, I know.
Can't
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, you're not actually revert the reversion.
Yeah.
Here, but one thing I do like to do is trade around key levels. So the reason I like Intel here is because this 48 area has been the key. Short this into VWAP and then reversed into a long a couple of times off these levels. Now I just want to see if I can fade into it off of VWAP. That way, if it breaks the 48 level, I can play into the high of the day, which has been resistance, and try and go like 2-to-1 here. If I can get something in the 90s, I can stop out just in the low 80s or off the 80 level, and then I can get a bit of a 2-to-1 play going into the high of the day in a stock which is already trending into the upside. So that's the kind of thought process I have here going with Intel. I am still thinking Mara 27 is a bit of a thing, though.
Yeah, so
Like that initial short on Mara, it's holding up. You're getting a higher low, but if this continues to fail that level, I mean, Bitcoin's not bouncing. On my 15-minute, Bitcoin's right at the local bottom. So if like this and maybe Coinbase, I'll look at Coinbase in a quick second. This and maybe Coinbase look like they can still be shorts based on what I'm seeing Bitcoin do. Well, maybe not Coinbase. Mara for sure, Coinbase kind of a maybe in there. Holding on to VWAP, and you're not getting the good R&R there on Coinbase in terms of the move. Not the way you can get it off to 27. in Mara. Roblox, still want to see buyers above 46. If I can see that, then I'd go for the long. Otherwise, I want to be pulling back into previous resistance, turning into support. So you got to be relatively patient looking for something like this. You don't want to give too much back going into the end of the day. It's got to be a pretty key level. Henry Chung, things look like hitting previous support and not much indication things will break out to the long side fade. Well, my approach usually is if we fade from here under 17,000, then have a couple of stocks that I know I want to play a reversal on. For now, 194 Apple is setting up. Potentially Rivian underneath 2330, Mara underneath 27, and then if we do break continue to the upside, what do I like to the long? Longs, buyers above 46 on Roblox is one play. It's not set up just yet. Maybe picking up Intel off of VWAP on a higher low. That's another one that I want to look at. So I'll just have like plays that I'm looking at on my different level 2s and my other charts when I look up here. That I'm locked and loaded for, but not necessarily just jumping into anything. Like I'll have a few things that I favor to the long side and a couple things I favor short, have relatively tight stops so that I'm not getting caught up and wrapped up into anything in particular when you're at that decision-making point in the market, which is where we're headed to right now. So if we roll over, I want to add to a couple. Well, I want to add to one, maybe join a couple, and if we end up going long, that Roblox is just stupid to the upside right now. The fact that Roblox is up 3.5% when you had the entire market in China down over this gaming thing, and this is going to end up breaking out on the daily chart, that's a huge trap that this put on this morning on sympathy to those Chinese names. So like that, to me, that's a great setup for a continuation long, even next week. I think we look for some further breakouts in Roblox, but it has to take out 46.4 first before it can get to that local high, 47.7.
I'm just noticing that our friend Google here is stuck in a bit of a range today, and I'm definitely missing out on this trade here. Even with the market kind of flushing to into 16.9 and then ripping right back up, take a look at this beautiful range that Google has been in. This is a 15-minute chart, so we'll drop it down to a 3. And here you can see how clear some of these supports are, that 140.80, and the highs here at that 141.60 as well. So yeah, I didn't really have that planned on my sticky note or my morning plan as well. I was looking and waiting for that 140, but that 140 does come in the pre-market session there. This was kind of yesterday's consolidation low area as well. But the fact of the matter is we've held above yesterday's highs and yesterday's close, and again also ahead of where these sellers again on Wednesday, kind of that significant flush on the market comes in, we're holding above that on a double bottom here. So double, triple bottom, there's multiple tests, quadruple bottom even if you count this low here. But stuck in a range here on Alphabet today, seems like that trade keeps on giving. It's a gift that keeps on giving there, Neil. Google on the range on top of 140.80. So I'll be watching it up here. You know what? 141.60 seems like sellers keep on coming in and around that area. So I'll let it get up there, see if it can, and then let it consolidate to see whether or not the seller's going to step right back in. So I'll take Nike off my main screen and pull up the Google so we can keep a closer eye on this name here. But yeah, no, let me know in the chat what you guys are trading, what you guys have been up to. What are some of the names that you guys have been involved with on the day? We'll take a quick look at them as well. Again, I'm looking for potential trades, but nothing is really setting up from my plan. Can I make a plan if I see something nice? Yeah, maybe. We'll figure that out if and when that shows up. But yeah, let us know in the chat what you guys are up to, what you guys are trading, and we can take a quick look here. The first name I'm seeing, the Crazy Stitch Lady, saying playing with Diz again. All right, so we can take a quick look at our friend Disney. Now, I don't know how far back the saying goes, Neil, but it's one I've heard, and they said, "Don't short the mouse." Have you heard that one before?
Literally never.
Never? Okay, I don't know. I feel like yeah. And they're alluding to don't short Disney, and I think it might have been on the way where it's been running. and stuff like that. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you guys have heard that phrase before. I feel like I've heard it a few times. But yeah, so Disney, I hope you were short because the short has been coming in real nice on Disney off of previous levels. Again, Wednesday's levels coming into play very interestingly on a lot of different tickers in different ways. You can see that Google's kind of Wednesday action, we're holding above that, whereas Disney is using that end of day consolidation as a bit of a resistance level and then slamming back down into the lower end here into the 91. So it's a decent look there. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, you said slam, so I said let the boys be boys. Or make noise be boys is the other one.
Where's that from?
Onyx.
Okay. Nice.
It's a rap. It's a rap group.
Okay. Yeah. No, I figured it's some sort of group or I was gonna say band, but
Y'all know Onyx. Y'all know Onyx.
No,
Sticky Fingers
don't.
was my favorite in the group, obviously.
I got a lot to learn, Neil. I think that again, I'm waiting for this laundry list of movies I got to watch and all these albums I got to listen to because
laundry list.
I do have a list because you know what's funny? Was it Mateo in the back when he was on the floor? He was like, bro, you got to watch these movies. You haven't seen these movies. And I was like, yeah, like, sure, write me down a list. And he wrote down a full list of like some pretty cool movies. And I started going through some of them. But that's why I say I have a laundry list of movies, but I haven't finished that list either just yet. But that's something I'm working on.
You've got plenty of time. And again, like I'm showing my age when I say Onyx. Like that's, like
when were they like?
Oh, they're like 90s.
90s?
Like
Okay.
I was in high school when Onyx was big. But watch out for 27. There it goes. There it goes. It took a couple of quick shots at Mara. It did give a nice retracement the last time. It was a good 30-cent move. But this time we just got stopped out a couple of times in there playing off the 27 level. So the buyers are starting to come in, but there is a battle happening. I'm into Rivian. There is a battle happening underneath 17,000 on the futures. So it might not be here in the crypto names that I wanted, but I got Rivian on a consolidation on that pullback right into 23 and a quarter. Apple's rolling over off 194, but I did not get the 94 fill or anything close to it on Apple. It's always the one that you don't get in terms of the move getting to the level that you want. So this one doesn't get there and starts rolling over. And that one already starting to work. If you grabbed it, you had to be like 15 cents early, I think, on Apple to be able to get that trade. But this is looking like we could have at least a mini pullback. If you find strength in this pullback, my gut's telling me Roblox. That's because it's the first thing that I can see that was actually breaking out tops and it's still pretty strong. Steve G saying he ran across Farm, help analyze. Farmer Brothers Company. Okay, first things first, why would we be trading a stock with 100,000 in volume today? Just pure curiosity. Just Steve, I know you in the chat. What's the deal here? Like, I don't see any reason to be in this thing. It's doing absolutely no volume. There's probably some levels to go over, but like, unless there's a catalyst here, I'm not seeing why you'd want to trade this. It is a 3-cent spread on a $3 stock with 100,000 volume on the day. It might be up 4%, but I can't see how you could trade this. Intel just came in for a bit of a dip buy. Want to play this one off VWAP. I said I like Intel off VWAP here if it can hold the bid. Risk underneath 10 cents to try and get a bit of a rally here. Played this once on the initial pull back at 2 o'clock, and then the reload off that level at 47.90 was absolutely no good right away. The bid was so the ask was pretty heavy going into it the second time. You're getting a bit of a consolidation in here. As I said, I wish I had Apple short. I feel like I should have a short on in Apple as well here, like 2 shorts, 1 long. Instead, I just have this Intel. We'll risk about 7 or 8 cents on to see if it can hold on to VWAP here. So I want this because of its relative strength. If Roblox continues to roll over, about the only spot where I think it can be a long is buyers over 46 or previous dip support. And even then, that's a bit hairy. So just being very patient here. Shorting off 46, I suppose, would make some sense too if you like it there, Arahan. And Daniel saying, look at CVS. I'm game. Only the 2 positions on, not really doing anything too crazy right now. What's the deal with CVS? Not much. I mean, okay, so it looks good on the daily chart, but you're not really getting continuation. It's tricky when something is in the midst of a good breakout, and then your market sentiment starts going in the other direction. So 78.5, that's your resistance. It's taken out on the daily. It's literally chopping off that big level on the daily chart that we just went back to, and it's not holding on to it. Like, if anything, it's like it wants to get back underneath that and fall under instead of breaking out the top here. And the volume's no good. You guys can see that, like, tapering off volume. So it's above resistance on the daily the entire day on nothing volume, on lower volume going into on a Friday. So I don't like that at all. Like, if anything, that would make me think it feels like it wants to be pulling back here. Certainly do not like a stock breaking out on low volume like that. So that's just my take on CVS. The chart looks fantastic on the daily chart. It's just not giving you any good reasons to make a trade in here. So first out on Intel is going to be creatively enough in front of 48 even, and then 48.10, and then 48.20, because we like round numbers.
Nice. So I'm just taking a quick look at the top volume gainers of the day here, so we can just do a quick rundown and see how some of these names have been doing. Again, crypto on watch, definitely in play as again Bitcoin kind of tries to push in towards that 45. Once again, we saw the dips into 40,000 getting bought up quite aggressively. A couple of weeks ago? I think it feels like a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, no, Mara definitely holding previous day's level day after day and catching a strong bid and a little bit of a continuation move. Take a look at how strong VWAP bidders have been on this name today. So definitely a little bit of a continuation kind of move happening here on Mara, and I'm sure a lot of the other crypto names are showing similar face there. Coinbase kind of same, yeah, out the open. VWAP kind of strong. A little bit of a dip through VWAP here, again through that market move, I'm assuming. And then yeah, look at that capitulation, one of the largest candles on the day with a strong wick through that 174 there. So decent opportunities it would seem that Mara is giving on the day today. So NXTP, I'm not really. Oh, you know what? Next play. Okay, yeah, this was on the scanner in the morning here. So it seems like it's done well so far today, holding above VWAP. Now I don't know what the catalyst or the news on this is, but okay. So I don't think there's anything as of recent. Well, at least here, but there could be something. Let me know in the chat if you guys have any idea what this one is up to. NXTP. I don't really have anything here for now. But yeah, Tesla, of course, we've been talking about Tesla, and oh boy, look at that quadunk that happened with the market. That 250 knocking on the door pretty much. We pretty much came into that 251, so that 250 has been interesting here. You can see Wednesday we quadunked into that. The day after, we held that quite well, and today we're coming right back in. But something to note, we have been making higher lows even after that strong sell-off. On Tesla, kind of building into that, again, that 260, very interesting kind of area that I'm observing over the past few days. NIO, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of people are involved in this name as of late as well. NIO. Who was it that called it NIO?
The entire show. So for anyone that, if you've been watching this show a really long time,
yeah,
then when we first started internally, at Day Trade the World, the show, and then originally, like for the first couple of months or for the first few months on YouTube, we were all saying NIO, and then the chat was just hammering us. So like, you guys can't even pronounce the name of the company. We're like, oh yeah, okay, well it's NIO, and then we got it corrected, and now we say it right. And this is famous for traders not knowing how to pronounce a company name. Because like an analyst is going to know it, an interviewer is going to know it, but a trader, like if you're trading, you're just looking at charts and price action all day long, and that's
we're more familiar with the ticker.
I'm just more familiar with the ticker.
Yeah, sorry. Give me the 3 or 4 letter code for it, and yeah, we traders I think are a little bit more familiar for sure.
Always. Before you have like 50 minutes to go here,
yep.
But
power hour.
Like it is power hour, but It'll be sour if this market doesn't maybe take out the 17,000. But Intel, I got that dip by 92s off of 90, and then it got right into 98 and ran into a brick wall. So there's some sellers up there in the high 90s, so scalp some out there. Maybe we're not going to get the high of the day. That's pie in the sky nonsense. The market doesn't seem to want to move that much. So if we break 48 even a little bit, I'll try to take some out just through an order at 5. I don't think this is worthy of a reload. If anything, Neil, why aren't you short something else? Again, I have Rivian. It's not really going. Apple's not making a huge move, but it's a decent one. Probably should have looked on over at Affirm, our old friend, because that's a good pullback. And see, that's the weakness that I wanted to see pulling back in. So shout out to everyone that's throwing that in there. American Express equals discrimination lawsuit. Yeah, I'm not an expert enough to know if their new policies are going to cause them concern. So smarter people will be able to tell you if that's the case. But I think they could come under some pressure because of that. Fiverr and Tilray. Daniel S., shout out to everyone in the midday that were yelling about the cannabis names, some of them moving pretty big. I know it was CGC that made the biggest move. Tilray does not move percentage-wise as much as CGC does when it goes. So Tilray up 8% today. CGC was up 19 at one point. It's a very slow, methodical, boring, steady grind up recently for Tilray that just has no acceleration. Today's a good day, but this has been trying very slowly to go. I don't see the excitement. The price action was much better and exciting on CGC, probably because of the reverse split. So you have lower liquidity, and then you start going a little bit more parabolically, is that right? Parabolic.
Yeah, parabolic.
So VWAP here, maybe there's something, but when I see the market going ham and then a $5 stock putting in a 15-cent range, nah. Like, I'll trade something I'm more comfortable with if you're scalping inside of a range here. You want something that can possibly go. Steve G, Sundial is a short, always is a short. I just say that because I only like to short the stock, but it's moving because the others are moving, but then look at that. You're getting some barcode action. Not a lot of excitement there. I think you want to stick to what's actually going. And Roblox is back above 46.
Yeah, Sundial's a name that I haven't heard in a long time.
Because it's, for good reason. I'll leave it at that. I was going to say something else, but.
Well, it hasn't been kind of doing anything.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Mullen.
There used to be a time where it did some significant volume.
It's the holidays.
Yeah.
So my way of saying something nice about Sundial is not Mullen.
Fair enough.
That's it. So all you Sundial bulls out there, see, I was just nice to the stock.
We're
They
getting.
never met dilution they didn't like over at Sundial. I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Wait, say that again.
They couldn't meet delusion that they didn't like in Sundial. Dilute the stock.
Oh,
dilute the
dilution.
stock.
I thought you meant delusion.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think have I said this before? I kind of marijuana stocks, weed stocks was kind of the first me dipping my toes into the market. And I learned a big lesson with that trade. It was like about a week or two before legalization here in Canada, and I had freshly dropped out of school, and I was like, okay, this trading stuff looks kind of cool. And my buddy was like talking about, oh, yo, these weed stocks, they've been doing great, pushing into legalization. I'm like, okay, I know nothing about anything, and
Buy them all.
and I literally was like, okay, I have this much money. I'm gonna buy some of that. I'm gonna buy some of that. So I went on a shopping spree 2 weeks before legalization, and I learned the phrase "buy the rumor, sell the news" in a very effective way. Definitely paid some market tuition on that trade there, but I guess that's how I first kind of started. Some of those names, just oblivion, just.
Anybody that says they haven't got caught one of those, you haven't been trading long enough, man. Like, my very first trade that wasn't like my personal account was buying a penny stock, and I also didn't sell the news. When a penny stock gets a catalyst, that's your out. Like, the whole idea. And I knew the playbook. It's like, okay, it makes the double. Get out your entry and hold the rest for the dream. So you're playing with house money. I knew what I was supposed to do. And then when I saw the move, I was like, greed. And I was young. I was like 20, I was young, 23, 24 years old. So whatever it was, I got greedy, I got stupid, and yada, yada, yada. I think I lost like 20% on the stock when it was up like 2x. I ended up losing like 15 or 20%, which was stupid, but you know, when you're young, you do dumb things and you learn lessons from other people. That's one of the reasons we like this channel. So in lieu of, I was gonna hit I don't have my key. I was gonna do the like and subscribe thing. If you like the lessons that you're getting, and if you like the show, and then as I'm sort of stretching this out, Fabian or Ramin are gonna hit it at some point because I don't have the one that I want to. And if I can't do it, then I'm just gonna hit this.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
I'm a homophobe that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
I really like that one. That was cool. See, I can't even.
It's not I don't have my own button. That's why I never had my own button, which doesn't make any sense. I can hit Sean's.
Take this opportunity to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You won't be disappointed. There's lots of bangs.
Nice. Now, wait, that's a different one than the laugh, right? At the end, or was that the same one with the laugh?
That's the same one.
Okay, I didn't.
It's the same one.
I thought you guys took a new one there, but no.
Well, it's like,
good animations.
Why is he here, the short master? It's so weird that everyone calls Sean the short master. It's pretty hilarious because we first started on YouTube, everyone would basically mock me for always going short. And then it was like Sean was like the perma bull, and it was a factor of like what was trading at the time. So like I like to fade a lot of the back in when you had those parabolic movers, like there were such huge moves in 2020 that there were some huge fading opportunities in small caps. So I was doing a lot of that. And someone's like, Neil's always looking to go short, and it's weird because Sean's probably one of the more perma bull people that I know. Like I know we're all long the market in a general sense, but he's definitely a perma bull. Like. Make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like the guy's, I mean, most people are, but it's a weird thing, if that's what you're referring to be sure. So I am in this Roblox, which is going a heck of a lot of 4 cents to the upside. It'd be nice if it could at least break 46.10. Seriously? Yeah, I might just get out of this I might just risk 5 cents on this. This is not going at all. I just got out. Like I said, I'm risking 5 cents on that. That's silly. It finally picked up a bit above 46. Like you had some size in there. Like you'd see like a couple thousand. Let me just show you guys the level 2 and tell you what I was talking about here. So you finally saw a bit above 46. You'd see like 2,000-3,000 lots showing up at 3s and 4s. So there were buyers, join a bit of that, thinking it's about to go, and absolutely nothing, crickets. So I decided to stop it out tight. Now, a reason why that buying matters, like look at the regular liquidity on the stock. Like when I saw buyers taking fills for 2,000-3,000 shares, I'm like, okay, that's some action starting to happen on Roblox above 46. And they got filled and then nothing. So I'd rather just get out, take a small hit, and then look for a better opportunity. Still sitting in Rivian, which refuses to do much of anything. I suppose consolidation is good if you do something after it. But I entered into the short. It hasn't broken the top. It hasn't broken down. Intel, a very similar story. It's in like a 10-cent consolidation. I've at least gotten something out of it at this particular point. But we got to be patient, right? If the market does nothing, then you're not forced to make a trade. But it feels like we're rolling over here, and I'm not seeing many names that are giving me like the opportunity for a trade just yet. I just looked over at Tesla, Apple, Roblox, Rivian up, and then Intel. Those are the 5 stocks that I'm monitoring. And I'm not seeing a heck of a lot of action indicating any entry points. If you guys see something, shout it out. Let us know. That's what it's all about. We still have about 40 minutes to go. Oh, don't forget, even though it is obviously the holiday weekend, we got Christmas coming up on Monday, but tomorrow there will still be the podcast. So the podcast will be dropping tomorrow morning as per usual. It'll give you something to argue about or talk about, not argue, to discuss while you're hanging out with your family over the holidays, which I hope everyone has an opportunity to do. And Amon's telling us to go long in Roku.
Roku.
I mean, not just because you said so, but isn't this stock getting squanched today?
Squanched.
Yeah, this stock is getting squanched today. That's not, well, I guess if you were long at 90, that's not that bad. That's Roku's having a bad day. I don't know that I would be thinking long here. Short off a 92, yes. Maybe short off of 91.5, yes. The other thing about Roku is on the daily chart, well, that looks like it's hunting for 85 or 80, like the 50 period or previous channel support, which was also support here. It could be holding 90 bucks, I suppose, but that's not a very good looking chart for Roku. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, so the market kind of teetering in and around underneath this 17,000, right? So something I want to note here, maybe a little observable, a little bit better on a shorter time frame, and let me blow up the NQ here. We've been making lower lows off of this morning consolidation. Again, we saw the strong pre-market action. We pulled all the way back up through that 17,000. And yeah, I'll just draw in a little bit of a trend line here. So just a simple kind of trend definition. Now, whether or not it's going to follow this, I have no idea, but this is just pointing out that we have just only made lower lows before we kind of do a huge crackdown, revert back up, and then this high has also become a lower high. That's what I mean. Lower highs, lower lows. Definitely a lower low over here, and we're making lower highs as well, but still got a little bit of room. That 17,000 could come in, but let's see. Looking a little bit weak here. Again, this price action around 17,000, Neil. I'm trying to observe. So here's a few things that I've picked up on. NQ likes to do a little bit of how you call a little bit of a shake and bake, maybe like a pause or a bus stop in and around every 100 points.
A bus stop, okay. That's
yeah, like you pick up some participants, you drop some off. You know, there's a little bit of a stall happening in and around every 100 points, but the 1,000-point move, that's what, because I wasn't really paying attention to the NQ like I am now around that 16,000 mark when we did break it. But the 17,000 interaction over the past few days has been pretty volatile, pretty interesting. So yeah. The question I want to ask you is, so that every 100 level, that's observable every now and then, right? If it's respecting it, respects. But that every thou, like what have you observed in the past, or have you taken notice? Or is volatility a little bit more choppy in and around these whole numbers that are kind of significant, right? Every 1,000 points.
Depends more the market that you're in than the actual, because like that answer is different today than it would be 2 years ago, and it's different 2 years ago than it would be 5 years ago. It's really about like what kind of a market and how volatile is the market that you're trading in. Because
there's nothing to do with that price kind of a whole number.
First off, I'm not a futures trader, but the price, that does matter. But how you behave off of a level like that has more to do with like liquidity around levels. Like when I started trading, you wouldn't believe me if I showed you a level 2 of the S&P 500 futures. You wouldn't have believed how liquid it was. Like it was insanely liquid. Like the amount of contracts at any given level dwarfs anything that you would see. Like it was stupid liquid. So the way that you would trade around the key levels is completely different to how you would now in terms of the way that things would shake out. So again, I think it matters a little bit more what's going on in the market. Like these days we get to those levels, and until we get past the quarter, I'm not completely convinced. Like I'm not trying to, like I never want to go long off a break of one of the evens, like a 17,000, unless you're clearing out 20s and 25s. If you're buying above there, okay, like, yeah, we're gone. Now we're starting to get some continuation. But as you break that by like 5 handles, that's no good. Like to me, that can still be failing that level very easily. So speaking of failing some things, I just took the opportunity. I couldn't find anything else that I liked. So there was a wick entry there on Rivian, and I just added underneath it, and we'll just go scalping this. So it wicked 32 or 23.20 and didn't break 25. I'm short 17s, so that managed to hold. If it goes 10 cents in the money, I take some out. But we have about, I would call it like 25 minutes to go to the imbalances, less than 7 minutes till we get the early look on the imbalances. A few names that are sort of out there. And again, like we show you guys this, it's just an early look for some New York stock names. Nothing really heavy. RSI here, and then AMC. Early look, 900,000 to buy on AMC. Bets is a penny stock, you guys know that. So I would say maybe worth doing a quick check on AMC. If it's doing anything, probably not, but yeah, not really doing anything on AMC. It did a bit of a spike But like 5-cent range, 900,000. It's not big, but I would have been interested if that could have been going at least somewhere. Boris saying OCGN's making a move. Yeah, I'll have a gander at OCGN. I'm just looking for something that might be going right now. Like Intel's still hanging right at 48. Roblox is 5 cents away from the same price it was at 46. OCGN, I don't know what the heck it was doing at 44, but that's at least interesting. It's up 10%, but it's really got, like, unless you break, like, unless you're taking 1 cent each time, like, you've got to get some really tight entries and exits. Like, it's just stalling out every penny or so, which makes it tricky to trade for most people. Now, if the liquidity was better, not bad. But the problem with this is a penny stock trying to take cents on it is look at the level 2. Like, look at this is 45. Like, where is the size? Like, there's no size here anywhere. A little bit at 46. There's no liquidity. It's done 5 million shares, but where the heck is the liquidity and where the heck are the prints? Like, you're not, on a penny stock, you want to be able to see people easily moving 10, 20,000 shares, no problem. That's the point of trading a penny stock. If you don't have that kind of liquidity, I would say this to trainings all the time. If it's not scalable, then don't practice doing it or don't do it. Because then you're just practicing a skill which is going to be of no use to you in the long run. So in this case, liquidity matters, and I'm not really seeing a good enough liquidity over there in OCGN.
Yeah, C8 Turbo is talking about NVIDIA starting to break up. All right, let's take a quick look at NVIDIA. Let me get my map ready here. I don't have eyes on, or I didn't have eyes on the Mag 7 a few seconds ago, but yeah, it would seem like NVIDIA's catching a little bit of a bid. Again, now kind of similar action there to the market. We are doing a little bit of a bounce off of that 16.9, coming back up in towards that 17 thou. And yeah, so let's see how this Amazon short kind of works out, consolidating underneath VWAP, making lower highs and lower lows as well. What was I checking? NVIDIA is the name. And yeah, wow, this is actually really, really nice here. Take a look at this clean trend on NVIDIA. Sure, okay, maybe not that clean, but clean enough for a name like NVIDIA. Strong trend to the downside here. Here, you know what? You can probably even draw in a parallel channel here, because the bottoms seem like they're reflecting the tops right there. So boom, right here. So very kind of similar kind of action both to the downside and to the upside, stuck in a bit of a channel underneath VWAP, and it would seem that we got a little bit more space to go if we are reclaiming this channel from before, maybe into that 489 as well. So let's see, a little bit of a capitulation type of move here with that strong sell, and then look at that large volume candle in and around that strong sell, and then we just get that nice little reversion rebid back up into the trend on NVIDIA. So yeah, NVIDIA catching a little bit of a bounce, but still overall trend on the day has been down, and it is quite significantly down. Again, we're pulling off of that 500 level. We see how strong that 500 selling has been. We try to push above it for not even for a few days, just end of day on Monday, and a little bit of the pre-market session coming in on Tuesday, and Kwadunk, we're right back down, not really spending too much time above that 500 mark, kind of reminding me of that 1 second candle on Microsoft pushing that what was it? Was it Softy? That
1 second candle.
So yeah, on was it Softy? Yeah, because I was looking at that 375 area. I'm pretty sure it was Softy, or was it Google? I'm trying to remember which ticker it was, but yeah, I think price spent less than a second there. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
price spent less than a second there,
okay,
and that was the top. And take a look at how long NVIDIA spent above 500 in terms of a bigger picture. I don't think that's a very, very long time. And as soon as it kind of drops below that 500, we do start to catch a little bit of relief. But again, NVIDIA,
Microsoft.
Softy, right?
With Microsoft.
Yeah. That clip at the top there. Less than 1 second it lasted for.
Yeah, if you come to my chart, this is what he didn't mean a 1 second chart, but if you were to pull it up, like
I pulled it up on a 1 second.
Yeah, if you pull up,
yeah,
but if you do pull up on a 1 second, like, it did not last. Like, the sellers at 375 have won in a big way. This is setting up, like, that actually sets us up for a 350 play. So when the imbalances come out, at 350, one of the trades I usually like is a fade off of like a high of the day, big resistance. If you're just sitting right at the level, short right in front with a stop just at the high, just at the fresh high of the day. If it takes out the top, when the imbalance comes out, if it's a buy imbalance, okay, takes out the top, you have a stop anyways. But if it pulls back, you get your 2-to-1 back into VWAP. That's setting up nicely. Or it's a coin flip. If it's a market on sell, imbalance for Microsoft, chances are it's going to fall off resistance. It's a very particular setup that I just like every now and then. In a couple of seconds, we're going to get the early look on the imbalances. If you guys get it before me, you can yell it out. Brendan puts it in the chat, but I also have my X machine or Twitter machine, whatever. It'll be X when they close that deal, and then Elon can bring it back public and then call the damn company X again eventually, which you know he wants to do. But I haven't gotten the early look. Oh, Rivian just came out, just got stopped at Rivian. It just took out those quarters. But I still haven't gotten the early look there, so I just want to get to Rivian to show you guys. We did add to this one. It just sat there consolidating, decided to add to it on the wick, but when it took out that quarters, I'm just going to get out. I looked at this and said, okay, you can look for the long, but then if I'm going long in here, I'm never favoring making 15 cents and 15 to 20 and making 10. I'm looking for the bigger move in. And then this is probably part because of Wednesday, what happened on Wednesday, looking at that big fade in there. But loss is a loss. We had 2 shorts on Rivian. First one good, second one bad. Intel's the only long. It's only like 8 cents in the money. Not really doing much of anything right here. But the market is trying. And Apple's at 194. I still haven't seen the early look. If you guys have it, I have not seen this at all yet.
Yeah, we're not really getting any sort of reaction either. So.
Yeah, I mean, the market's not doing much, but I didn't really get anything. I still haven't seen the early look imbalances. Overall, I can give you what's happening on some of these individual names, and still nothing there. You just have RSI, AMC, which were the names at the top, and no change in either of those 2 imbalances for the early look on individual names, but no overall imbalance just yet. Apple's just got to 194 and pulled back a little bit. That was a level we liked.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Apple closes today.
Down is my guess.
Yeah, no, I was looking at that 196.
It's cheap. It's down 0.4%. There's 25 minutes to go, so obviously you bet what it already is.
Yeah, I was actually, excuse me, 190. I was looking at 196, kind of that week opening price, because if you look at the weekly chart on Apple, we're kind of having a little bit of a different difference in behavior this week. Now, of course, that strong selling coming in could have definitely played a part. It definitely did. But if you take a look at the weekly chart on Apple, oh boy, there are a lot of lines here. Okay, so anyways, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green weeks in a row, Neil. And sure, you get that little bit of a doji in the middle there, the week of the 20th of November, almost red there, but first red in a while, right? Going into the holiday Christmas weekend, and we're getting that first week of selling after consistent buying since October 30th, week after week. Very strong bid on Apple. Now, again, we talked about this consolidation break, this flag break, whatever you want to call it. But before I continue this further, we're going to send it to Brendo at the big desk.
Hey guys, just seeing a note on Apple here. It's not really reacting as far as the stock is concerned. 0.4 is still downside, but apparently New York Times reporting Apple is exploring AI, quote unquote, AI deals with news publishers. So we talked yesterday a little bit about that Apple linked AI story.
Not a huge reaction there.
Did that news just come out?
Yeah, it just
That's
dropped.
interesting, Neil, because you know why? Earlier this year, some of the biggest market catalysts were AI news. We saw intraday catalysts make a move on Softy and Google, and now this is a huge sentimental shift where a company like Apple finally comes out with AI news. We were like, when is Apple gonna come out? Softy's already out. NVIDIA is out, Google is out, a lot of the other Mag 7s are working on stuff. When is Apple going to make that announcement? And this announcement happens and we don't get any reaction? Again, and we've been experiencing that little bit of selling. I don't know.
I think this is probably a little bit different because specifically, like, I mean, you're talking, it's a very, this is not the same as, developing like their own like language,
Right.
model.
But no
or-
reaction?
I want to see actual integration in a real sense in their platform. That's what's going to matter more. But I think we're past the point of the market overreacting to AI news. If anything, we're well past that. I mean, we saw a lot of that, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like the market's kind of pricing it. If anything, I'm like, why am I not just short off 194? Like if that hitting doesn't even break this past the nearest even dollar, then why not risk 10 cents there on Apple, or 15 cents, or whatever it works out to be, as we try to get some 88s. And it's 335 for everybody. When you're trading, when you're day trading, I should say. I mean, if you're swing trading, I don't know how many entries on a swing trade I'd be trying to make the weekend before Christmas, but when you're day trading, everything is a bit different the tighter you get to 4 o'clock. You're looking to hold things for less with smaller moves, which means tighter stops, a lot of times smaller size, all that kind of good stuff. So when I'm looking at that 94 level, show me a turn off 94 and a fail off 17,000 and no reaction to a news story coming out. And I kind of feel I just want to fade that a little bit in the 80s if I'm able to get it. I've seen John H. has put Virgin Galactic. That is like the 5th time I've seen someone put in Virgin Galactic today. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why. It was Rocket Labs that's the one that's moving today. They're the ones with the catalyst, and Virgin Galactic is just getting a pity rally right now. And not much of one for Virgin Galactic, only up 7%. So I don't really see the thrill with this story. I mean, I'd love to go on. If someone wants to give me a free trip to get on the Virgin Galactic, whatever you want to call it, because I guess if you call it going into orbit, you get mocked because they're like it's just low orbit. But I'll do it.
Orbit is orbit.
Like I'm 100% down for it. I'm just not paying for it. It's too much.
How much is a ticket?
What is it, like 150 grand? Or I think that's what they're at right now. I'm sure at some point it's going to come down.
Oh
but
yeah. Remember when
right now, the economics are
airplane?
ridiculous.
I mean, I don't remember. I'm sure you don't remember. But like, there was a time where airplane tickets were ridiculously expensive when the tech first came out, right?
Did you just ask me if I
No,
remember when airplane tickets?
I phrased the question. I took that back. I was like, well, there's no way because that happened more than 100, maybe more than 100 years ago. I don't know. But,
right, for me? Right?
We got
Y'all
more of
saw
that
exactly
eggnog?
what you all, okay. I know what you did there.
No,
Obi,
I did not do that on.
He's killing me. He's
But no,
killing
valid
me
question.
today.
Like, no, that's valid. When airplanes first kind of came out, the tickets were ridiculously expensive, and that's kind of the same. But now we're talking about rockets, which is like.
When airplanes first came out.
Yeah.
Neil, do you remember when? And now you're talking about when airplanes first came. I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
You didn't know the Wright brothers? No, I'm joking.
Okay,
All
you got me. But it's true. Prices are going to come down. Eventually, you're going to be able to go in space for, I'm sure at some point,
Make me sweat.
for a reasonable price. The real question becomes, is Virgin Galactic around when that happens? We know Elon's probably going to be SpaceX, that's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
But whether or not Virgin Galactic's able to pull
High
it,
hopes for SpaceX.
that's a different story. When are we going public, man, so I can get involved in that game? The Salty Bear, I was not there when the stock market was invented. Give Sean this brief. Sean started trading a year before me and is at least a few months older than I am.
Stock market is how old? Like no, not even. Before the like 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s?
It's a lot older than that. You guys tell me. I actually don't know the exact moment. It's not emotional damage. I'm fine.
I've only gone back like 20, 30 years, but.
Well, it's older than that.
Yeah.
The market. I don't know exactly. I mean, someone Google it, please. Just Google
When
it. How
about?
old it
Or
is.
was that the inception of SPY?
No, like the Dow's like 100 and something years old. So. You guys will be able to figure it out. Bordy, can you get a gift horse? You can get a gift horse. There you go. There's a gift horse. Yeah, I mean it's well over 100 years. I don't know exactly. You just guys, someone else is going to Google it and put it in the chat. And no, it's not 1970. There you go.
1993, the inception of SPY, ETF.
It's 1611 in Amsterdam. So.
Ooh.
And then the 1700s in the U.S. And every now and then, like I'm a little bit older, so
I gotta back
like
test
I have to
further.
think about it for a second, and then it just comes to me. Okay, by the way, no, Ramin was just checking it on her phone, so that's what she said. Doug says NYSE May 17th, 1792. I've seen 1792 a couple of times. When Neil was a kid, his dog's name was Dino. I love the Flintstones. That's a great show.
Yeah. Yabba dabba doo.
That you know.
Of course. Okay, so what was it? Saturday mornings, Cartoon Network. That was a thing, right?
But did you know about Rocket Robin Hood? No, you didn't know about Rocket.
No, I have no idea what that is.
You don't know about Rocket Robin Hood. Anybody see that was the joint. Rocket Robin Hood. I used to watch that. Brave Star was a good show back in the day. All right, so what?
I really liked one. There was one like a spooky with the dog. It was kind of quirky.
Scooby-Doo?
No. Scooby-Doo for sure.
Quirky with a
Courage the Cowardly Dog. That show
Wow.
was mint. Absolutely mint. I love that show.
Get some love for that one.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Saturday morning Cartoon Networks.
Like
that was a
but-
lifestyle at one point.
Gargoyles, Brian Thompson, yo, yes. Gargoyles, that was legit. I remember Darkwing Duck was like, there was like this one summer where like every second commercial was like for Darkwing Duck. And when that crap came out in the fall, it was like the dumbest cartoon ever. I'm like, I had to watch this silly dance and cartoon, and then you just completely disappointed. Oh, it's almost like a Disney film. By the way, we're going to go to the desk right now and take care of a little business.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
I don't know why you had to turn the volume up on that like halfway through. Did Fabian do that to you guys too? Like it was just normal volume for the IG read, and then halfway through he doubled the volume so it could be way higher. Oh, what? Oh, so you guys didn't even hear that?
Feed,
Okay. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. For us, it was like quiet, then it was really, really loud. Like Brennan's yelling in my face about that. So anyways, that was just a little bit weird. Should have shorted Apple, didn't short Apple, didn't short it, I suck. Intel, I'm probably gonna get this out next available pop. Should have been short in Apple. That was the one. Took Rivian, tried to grab Apple there off the 194. Hopefully somebody got it. Now you're getting pay dirt. At least a little bit of a move. We never got the early look imbalance from the source that we get it from. So for anyone that was asking about the imbalances going into the end of the day, we didn't see it, so I can't give you a number. I can simply tell you that the individual names had a slight change. I mean, RSI still there. RTX kind of came out of nowhere from Mill. Visa's there for a 900,000 buy. AMC paired off a little bit, but nothing is standing out. So it's not as if there's big individual names on the early look, so I don't know if the overall number would be gigantic. So, Hampton's Trader saying financial juice went on. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Some of the sources that do it online, financial juice being one of them, they took, they stopped tweeting at 1 o'clock, so that makes a little bit of sense there. You'll see that, like sometimes people will bugger off halfway, turn it into a half day, and then go to their Christmas parties or whatever it does. Our Christmas party's right here. We're having our fun, and we're thankful that all you guys decide to stick around with us and have a little bit of fun as well. And as I said, there's no aftermarket show today because the taping of the podcast will be aftermarket. As a matter of fact, Sean will be coming in and taping that, so you guys will be able to get your fix tomorrow morning of the pod. I just took some out of Intel because the market started dumping, so when it popped a couple of pennies, I'm going to take that out if I can get it. It's not really moving a heck of a lot. It's Apple that we should have traded off that 194. That was pretty much the one.
Yeah, that short is finally coming in real nice there off of this consolidation. Again, I had to try it twice, and then it finally came in nice. So that initial short pops up into the previous consolidation levels there. I'm like, all right, well, the stop is a little too close. So get back in, give it a little bit wider stop. I'm like, all right, if this is going to work, I want to give it to a realistic risk here. Again, we're making lower highs on the NQ as well as on Amazon underneath VWAP and a little bit of a downtrend. Apple's helping us out, Nvidia's helping us out. Amazon, of course, that's the one we're trading, but Softy and Alphabet, relatively strong compared to some of these other names that are pulling back here. So that's definitely interesting to me. Softy holding up. up in and around that 75, 73 level. So relative strength happening on Softy. VWAP seems a bit of an orbit area there, a little bit of a churn potential on Softy all day today. But yeah, take a look at Alpha as well. This Google, a little bit of a similar type of price action as the Softy. I'm curious to know. I don't really watch Meta too often, even though I should. And we talked about this name kind of creeping back up into the upper echelon of constituents there of the NQ, and Meta also kind of slowing down off of VWAP there as well. Let's take a quick look at Tesla, because Tesla's buddies with the top constituents as well, and yeah, a little bit of lower highs. So we're getting that similar sentiment across the board there, lower highs and lower lows on the futures and on equities. So I think the short wasn't too bad, and let's see if it kind of works into the close. Only about 5 minutes before these imbalances come through there, Neil, and it seems like we may be closing in and around some of these areas. But yeah, I think we were talking about Apple kind of on the weekly chart, printing the first red week before, and yeah, it seems like we're going to print a pretty red here. Again, this could very well, it's an inside bar, right? Inside bar relative to last week. So let me just, actually, I don't want to delete this just now because it has been coming in useful. So let me just hide that. But yeah, take a look at this. First red week in a while, but we open and close within the open and close of previous week. That's definitely interesting. So going forward next week, let's see if we make lower highs. Let's see if we break prior week lows, or we just chop around and continue in and around this 195. That's definitely interesting. But this consolidation break definitely looking like a solid strength off of that break there. Nice.
Just saying what's up to Patrick there. I wanted to get this question from Skybear. So Skybear asked me, can you take a look at Neil? What do you think about like a swing setup? So just looking at the chart, first things first, I took a swing in Rivian that I think is a better setup, or was a better setup than this. And that's because you got the 50 and the 200 period consolidation above both of those levels. So you're getting a break in consolidation above 8, which is supported by the 50 period, but you have resistance at $9 in the 200 period. I'm not a huge fan generally of taking that and hoping it breaks what's been a huge resistance at that level. I generally speaking like to take trades where I think it's past the biggest points of resistance and then it's just going. And this doesn't seem like it's there yet. So yes, you're getting at a better price and it's not bad. R&R, the $8 swing, I guess if you're giving it to $7.50 or even to the $7, it sets up okay. But what I liked more about Rivian and why personally I took it was because you had the conversions of the 50 and the 200. You made the bottom on a higher low on 15, so it's a little bit of a stronger move. It had a downward channel, and then you held this consolidation here off the 18 level, and once it bounced off there, go for the long, and there was room till you got to next resistance up here at 25. To me, that's a better setup. So I preferred it. It's not to say that Neil's bad, and maybe I'm looking for reasons why I don't like it because it's a Chinese ADR. That could be possible. I happen to like what I saw there a little bit better than what I see over in Neo. And something about it also being a weaker stock is great support off 7 even. I suppose you could just be trading that all day long off 7 when you get that chance. There was a question in the chat there. Does anyone know when SpaceX will go public? There's no.
I'm waiting.
No, everybody's waiting. There is no actual indication that it would be going public anytime soon. So
I think that would be pretty.
No, they just did a raise like last month.
Okay.
At a huge value. I forget the exact number. At a pretty huge valuation. So, there's no indication that that's going to go public anytime soon. I think it would be pretty popular if it did.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it doesn't have to. And what's weird about it nowadays, the biggest companies, even when they do, they're so mature at this point. It's not, the IPO market's not the same as it used to be. Like, you get these companies that have been around for a very long time and are already profitable and all this stuff. It's not the same by the time they go there. It's almost like just an exit point. SpaceX might never go public, to be honest with you. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, that's I think that's fair. They make enough money. They don't necessarily need too much help there, and that's kind of why you're alluding to that.
They have ample. They have ample opportunity to get capital. So it's like the ability for them to raise has never really been an issue.
The market is a tool for companies to raise money.
Yeah.
And it's like,
when the private market's doing a fantastic job for it, sometimes you look for that liquidity for early shareholders to be able to get out and early investors. But I don't see anyone rushing to, seemingly wanting to rush to the exits on that one. Maybe at some point it ends up happening, but
yeah, hopefully. I think it'd be interesting to see how it trades. It'd be fun to trade for sure. I would definitely be interested in that IPO.
Oh, as a trader,
boy.
of course.
Oh boy.
100% want to go.
SpaceX will take us to the moon, literally. I think on that IPO.
Yeah, forget about Reddit. That would be much more interesting to trade. So we just got 350 just hit very quickly.
Dang, let's go.
I don't know if we're going to get an overall number, but GoEV's wait, it's a penny stock, so who cares? Nothing really that big standing out. Visa and Delta are the biggest imbalances.
Ooh, Visa, eh?
No. Okay, so Visa, spoiler alert, Visa always pairs off. 870,000.
Yeah, I do remember. Visa
Never
usually
stays.
does
RTX is $1 million to buy. Let me just quickly check out RTX. Just a little bit curious what's going on over here. I mean, all I have is Intel, which is basically flat. Okay, RTX, not much going on, but that's a name that could have been interesting. That would have been interesting if that imbalance was moving the stock, but again, RTX, a buy imbalance of 1 million shares, and it's actually headed to the downside. The market pulled back about 25 handles and is bouncing a little bit here. I'm just going to take the opportunity to. I will be more than happy if Intel just wants to move up a couple of cents and just get me out. Like this is pretty lame, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to take it out. Like literally, you're going to give me 5 cents on Intel, whatever. That's been the trade. So I just sat in this one. It kind of held some support down there, but it never gave you more than 8 or 9 cents at best, and then 5 or 6 at worst. Gabby's saying Palantir possible, like possible move on Palantir, maybe. No.
Into the close?
No, it's not really doing a heck of a lot, and I didn't see there was no imbalance on Palantir either. For those asking what the deal of what the imbalances are. So there's a closing auction, an open and closing auction for all of the major markets. And the reason for that, you get a closing print, but then it's a liquidity event so that you'll get an aggregation of all the volume at the open or the close for the closing print. Now, the reason they publish the imbalances is everyone's throwing these orders into the auction, but if you make it public, the order flow that's going in, say there's 2 million shares of order flow, and I'll just use an example from something here. So on RSI, right here in the NYSE, there's 1.8 million shares worth of order flow going into RSI, but only 35,000 is paired off, meaning there's 1.8 million in sell orders more than there are buys. So the reason you publish that, or the reason the market publishes that, is so that people can see it and take the other side, so you have less volatility in the close. So if somebody is looking to buy RSI without moving the market, or go EV without moving the market, they can go into the auction, see that there's a big sell imbalance, knowing that they offset it with a buy order, it's not going to move as much. So you publish it early, and then you tend to see it offset at 355 on the NYSE floor, and at the NASDAQ as well. You get a lot of those starting to pair off. They reach an equilibrium, and then right at 4 o'clock or shortly after it for the NYSE, you get the closing auction print. The same mechanism at the open as the close. The only difference is when they disseminate publicly the imbalances and when things tend to update. So you get updates at 55, the big ones. It'll be updating in real time the entire time, but big updates at 55, 58, and then the last 30 seconds as well on most of the major markets. We actually have a video on our other channel about it that is much more eloquent than that. I think Arun gives a good one, but anytime you guys want to ask us, we can always go over it. Sometimes I speak too quick because we know what we're talking about, and you get into the jargon a little bit too fast there. But what just happened?
1,000 lots on 153.47 Amazon right now going into the close. 1,000 lots on the ask, a double stack right there. Actually, no, that's a single stack. And they're getting chewed right through. 1,000 lots turns into 800. They want that price. Oh boy! And what was that? What was that block that came in earlier, Neil? Well, it was 153.44. Huh. Interesting. Interesting stuff. Most of that, well, 300 of that, or 200, I guess, is 793 now. It's still there, so 200 of that size gets clipped, and we come back in. I was short in and around, this was VWAP in the 60s, 153.60s, and on that flush, covered some pieces off, and into the inbound, I'm like, all right, well, if we're going to bounce a little bit there, there's a size again, if you guys can see it, 800 lots now.
Not moving.
It's not, yeah, it's holding it up.
This is
47, so some of it got clipped, but but not all of it, and we kind of start selling off of that area underneath VWAP as well. So just interesting information, right? I don't know if it's really anything too executable as of right now, but
I just got 35.
Dang. Okay.
Okay. Well, whatever. It just filled me at 35 there.
They're taking it again.
Yeah, it's gonna take it out.
Yeah, it's taking it.
You know what?
Oh.
Oh no, it held. Okay, anyways, I got short 42, some out at 35, and then I just punched out when I thought the guy was gonna go, and then he ends up holding the order. So yeah.
See, I know nothing. Please explain? How did you? So you're just getting in front of the?
I shorted in front of the size. I threw a bid out there once it went 1-to-1 from the price I entered. Actually, a little bit better than that. I got one fill as it came down, and then it went right back up to the price. Instead of waiting for it to break the level, I just want to hit the guy. Because if it breaks the level, you lose an extra 5-cent slippage on a scalp trade.
Right.
If you hit the level, you just get out on that order.
Right.
So if you short 42 to 46, you can punch 47
while he's getting taken out.
While he's getting taken out. The problem is he holds a level and then you just punched out for no reason. But I'd rather do that than get slipped the extra. To me, that guy's size order, that's your exit liquidity. Let other people get stopped out above. If I think it's going to move a lot, like if I think it has room to go $1 to the downside, I'll hold on to it. But I'm scalping it for like 10, 20 cents with only 4 minutes to go. I'm punching out on that guy's order every single time. Anyways, it's just, it didn't do anything, so it's not like it was any good. You could have probably, if you had a really good entry at 45, 46, you could have made 10 cents the first time, and then it came back through, and now you would have made 5 cents. But the imbalances, nothing was that big to be paired off. RTX is actually staying, GoEV. Again, penny stock, who cares? AMC's pared down to like 600,000, but none of the big cap names were on here to begin with. So you're not even seeing any open interest in these imbalances. So it is what it is. That order flow is interesting. It's one of the things you can file away. Like if I see a seller at 153.5 on Monday, on Tuesday, then maybe you take some note of that. It's worth, as a matter of fact, I'm
going to do that as well.
153.5 on Amazon, just to remind myself that there was a seller on Friday at that price.
Some more of them got 600 now. So
and he just walked it down to 41.
Oh, right, yeah, he was at 47 now, so he's chasing it down. It's a little bit of a chase.
Yeah, so I should have held, but it's not moving that much.
No, it's not.
Like you're in the money 9 cents if you take it. The idea being there, you had 100,000 shares, so you just try to take a small amount. You got to take a fraction of it. Like you're not going short 100,000 shares when he has 100,000. Like you never take more than a few thousand because you want to make sure as it's going, you have exit liquidity on the way out. Then you just scalp trade it. So in and out very, very quickly. Shout out to everybody. We only have about 3 minutes left. Just a reminder, there is no market recap show because the podcast is being taped right after the end of this show. Mr. Catini is going to be doing up there with Brendo. The mood lighting's already in there already as Fabian smiles over at me. I love the lighting for the podcast. It's like everything gets nice, cool, and mellow. What they should be doing is they should have a little bit of this as they do the podcast. Then the good comes out in that hour. Now, that's just my 2 cents. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. It's entirely up to Brennan and Sean what they want to do. But shout out to everyone in the chat for sticking around. Thank you, Bears versus Bulls, reminding everybody it's Christmas on Monday. The market will be closed, but it's open on Boxing Day. It's open every day next week after Christmas. There is no half day on the final day of the trading day of the year. It's not like Thanksgiving. They trade the entire day. I remember I used to always think it was a half day, and then somehow I'd be surprised every single year for a couple of years like an idiot. But it's a full day that last day. So about 90 seconds to go. Just canceling. Yeah, no stop orders out there. No orders out. So all trades are done before Christmas. So we're just enjoying an up day in the market. I looked over, and it's still kind of in question. But the NASDAQ, for now, and the ES, for now, looking like we're going to close the week with a positive day here with just about 1 minute to go. So the Santa Claus rally is not dead yet, despite best efforts at that 2 o'clock fade.
I think with this little bit of a selling, we're getting that Boxing Day discount a little early. with the strong selling that's been happening. So coming in Tuesday will definitely be some interesting action here with some of these references. So yeah, no, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and hope you guys spend time with your family and have a happy, holly jolly season with family and friends. I gotta re-up on. Okay, all right.
The re-up.
The re-up.
What do you get that? Oh, yeah, whatever. You got the yayo? The re-up. What's going on over here? You refill a drink. A re-up is something else.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
You actually don't know?
No, I don't know.
Oh, so like
I always call it. I thought that was a thing, just a re-up.
Well, I mean, the re-up is what happens in the wire when the stash runs low. Anyways, why are we even talking about this? Let's get over to Adara with the countdown. It is the final countdown on the show before Christmas in 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it. There could have been like a Christmas tree in the background and all that good stuff. So shout out to everybody out there. We love you guys. It's been absolute fun. The year's not over, but if there's one thing that I will say, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm hoping that everybody spends this weekend celebrating whatever you happen to celebrate. If it's Christmas, great. If it's not, then it doesn't really matter. But just spend some time with the loved ones and appreciate everything that we all have, because we're pretty darn lucky. If you're watching this, that means you have access to YouTube, and you're interested in trading, which means you have access to the markets as well. And we're all very fortunate to be able to do this. And I think we're very fortunate to have a fantastic team. So I want to shout out Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos. Mark is in the building. He is always working. He literally takes no time off. Please tell me you're taking time off next week, Mark. He just nodded his head. He's always here, and he's always working hard. Randy was in the building. He left a little bit earlier. Shout out to him, and Rob is on vacation as well for the IT team. Thank you, Obi, for filling in from a man, Sean.
Thank you for having me.
As
Thank
always,
you, Neil.
A lot of fun. What I do
Again,
nothing.
providing value, and again, all the mentorship. It's like pretty much sitting beside you, man. I'm learning so much, and like it's like even with 90 seconds left, we got size on the bid. I'm like, oh, this is not an executable, and then you literally took a trade, and I'm like,
you can always
So it's
scout
like-
something. There's always a trade out there. I just
exactly.
can't put my
I'm
hand
learning
right
so
inside.
much, so I'm so grateful to be in this place.
You're kissing
Thank
up
you.
after that whole insult about the hammer, but I appreciate. I appreciate that. You know, Sean and I have been trading a long time. We're really fortunate to have a great community and a great trading floor that we have a lot of fun with. I want to shout out to Adara and Sharif. Sharif had to take off. He was driving on home, so all best to him and his family. Thank you very much. Adara is always on the midday and up at the desk. You know who's there.
Brendo.
We got Brendo at the big desk. He's going to be taping that podcast with Sean. Just to remind everybody, podcast drops tomorrow morning, going to be taped right when we are done and finished here. So, for everybody here at Trader TV Live, I'm Neil. That's Obi. It's been an absolute blast. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. The market's closed on Monday. We'll see you bright and early on Tuesday to trade the Santa Claus rally.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.